Hello, Mustard0063 back here to continue on with the Mega Man 11 Roadmaster Perfect runs. I tackled what I thought was going to be the first of two middle of the road stages last time, so let's do the second of those stages, and this time, that's Acid Man. Not even enough time to get out my usual spiel right off the bat without only talking about points of interest. The very first outtake I suffered was in the first 5 seconds to one of these spiders. What a fantastic start to the stage, although at least things really only could get better from there. And with that embarrassment out of the way, as said last time, I'll repeat this intro at the start of every stage, but with my having already done Let's Play, and with those being in separate videos, I'll put a link to them in the description. A reminder that I may not commentate all the time over these perfect runs, as I've similarly done with others, but more chime in to let you know about a screen that gave me trouble, or if there's a particular strategy for getting through an area that I think's worth sharing. And in case you missed it, what an absolute prick that spider was on the previous screen. I know I still dodged it, but wow. So thankfully it was pretty plain sailing off that initial screw up until this screen. Pretty much all the ones with the spiders, acid syringe enemies and pools of liquid made me nervous, and this one was no exception. As you'll see for this run, I ended up leaving most of the spiders alone, and that's because I ended up coming a cropper on a lot of the little spiders, thanks to them being incredibly annoying to hit at times. 2 failures on this particular screen. And somewhat surprisingly to me, just the one mess up on this fifth boss, Cyclone W. That was actually owing to me trying to kill it too quickly. It's likely impossible for me to defeat it before it does this move, and the key here is that the more damage you've done up to this point, the more of those cleaning rubber enemies it sends out. I did a lot of damage on the run that ended in failure, and I got completely overwhelmed here. On this run, however, having learned my lesson, I held back a bit at first, so a lot fewer cleaning rubber enemies were sent out, but then went gung-ho from there, with the aim of killing it before it did that move again. And as you can see, it worked out pretty perfectly. Wow, thanks Met. Really need you there at that exact moment. Mini spiders running on the loose, and that did not bode well. Another 2 outtakes thanks to them, as my focus ended up often being diverted to take out the acid syringe enemies as quickly as possible, so as to avoid the liquid pools becoming dangerous. And that certainly was my plan here too, but whoops. Yeah, this pool becoming acidic makes attacking the last syringe enemy on this screen a bit trickier than it otherwise would, and really should have been. But unfortunately that wasn't the end of the mess ups on the screen. One last really clumsy one to the Sniper Joe at the end here, that I have no real excuses for. And god damn it, I missed every bloody shot on the acid bubble again. Not a disaster, but of course it does limit my positioning to the circling platforms when having to deal with that Sniper Joe. While this screen looks potentially nasty, I didn't have any problems with it. Maybe my I want to be the guy fan game experience was proving useful. as I guess it may also have done here. Incidentally, now is probably a decent time to mention that the Sniper Joe outtake was the latest one I had on the level. And not only was it the latest outtake on the level, it was the latest outtake in the overall stage. Yep, no screw-ups on Acid Man. In all honesty, I wasn't expecting Acid to give me any problems, and thankfully, that's how it turned out. Once you've gotten rid of his Acid barrier, it's a very predictable fight, and all his attacks are pretty simple to avoid, once you know how to manipulate him. I don't really have anything else to say for the moment. I will discuss my fight strategy briefly in difficulty analysis, but until then, simply enjoy the remainder of the battle. So, as before, no transition from Let's Play to Perfect Run, but do please enjoy the awesome 8-bit stage music before we get to the difficulty analysis. There's simply no getting away from it. This stage was much, much easier than I thought it was going to be. Not so much Acid Man himself, I was always pretty confident about the Robot Master fight, but I thought the level would cause me way more grief. In actuality, it only took me 25 minutes to get the successful perfect run on this stage, 40 minutes fewer than the previous one, remembering of course I attended these in perceived difficulty order, and with only a total of 7 failures, one of which, as I said before, was after about 5 seconds, and none of them on the Robot Master. 5 of those 7 outtakes were in trying to deal with spiders, the acid syringes, or a combination of both, and it's these sections that I thought were going to be rather tricky to get through unscathed. For the other 2, one was just me being exceedingly clumsy and jumping into a Sniper Joe's shot, and the other was on the mid-boss, which I'll come to in a moment. There actually is a very interesting dilemma to the stage in terms of how do you best want to deal with the spiders and acid syringes. Do you let the pools of liquid become acidic, which forces you to be more precise with your platforming, but does allow you to destroy the spiders more easily? Or do you avoid turning liquid acidic as much as possible, meaning your platforming doesn't need to be so precise, but does make dealing with the spiders trickier? In the end, I went with the latter strategy, or at least tried to, as there were a couple of occasions where the liquid did turn acidic, though thankfully my platforming was up to snuff. But still, trying to juggle dealing with the spiders and the acid syringes is definitely, in my opinion, the most challenging element to the level. Everything else, including all the insta-death spike sections, is generally no trouble for me. In addition, the mid-boss Cyclone W actually wasn't as annoying as I thought it might be, although I did have to employ, I think, quite a clever strategy to not attack it as much as possible in its first cycle. Doing so causes it to send out lots more of those tiny cleaning robots, and the screen can end up getting very jam-packed. That's how my one outtake on the mid-boss happened. Taking less of an immediate gung-ho approach, however, means I can get some damage in during its first cycle, not get overwhelmed by the cleaning robots, and then pummel away during its second cycle, and destroy it before I have to deal with another wave of the cleaning robots. Worked very nicely, I'd say. And as for Acid Man, I wasn't expecting any trouble, and I didn't receive any. I'm still rather displeased I got hit to him during my Let's Play. Twice. Although admittedly the second hit came almost immediately after the first one, when Acid himself only had 2 HP left. As long as you take out his acid barrier quickly, to avoid him firing arcing projectiles at you all the while closing in on you, from that point on, until he reforms the barrier, he's very easy to deal with. Slide under him when he jumps toward you, jump his first acid shot, the second you'll automatically avoid as he'll aim up and you'll be falling back to the ground, and jump the third. Then for his speed gear mode, jump the acid wave, then slide and jump away from him, and you'll naturally avoid the 3 acid shots he sends down towards you. Repeat as often as needed. The 5th stage in the game going by this quickly, and I dare say this easily? Back to happy mode. Absolutely no question. With so relatively few outtakes and not much time spent on the stage, all I can give Acid Man is a 2 out of 10. It wasn't the Rope Master that I anticipated being the problem here. He was as straightforward as I predicted. Rather, I was expecting all the sections of the level with the pools of liquid, acid syringes and spiders to be especially tricky to get through unscathed. But even though, in some form or other, they were the cause of all but 2 of my outtakes, I was pleasantly surprised that they actually weren't all that tricky, and my initial perceptions of this stage were way off. Now, it's great when things work out that way, but I better not get carried away, or the opposite, that is, not expecting something to be overly difficult, but ends up being so, will definitely happen to me at some point. Regardless, I hope you tune in again next time to find out if the 6th stage ends up being equally as nice an experience, or if it's one I'll have to bounce back from. Cheerio.